Well, talk about Angle too. He loved working with you, and he even said on the show that he wished he could have had like a long-term program with you, and like you guys worked a little bit in the new ECW, and cross paths here and there too when in WWE like hardcore title stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about working with Kurt because he kind of from his amateur wrestling background, obviously he knows like working snug and working stiff, and like
Yeah.
so I think he appreciated that from you too.
Yeah. He kept saying that every time the other guy mentioned me being snug, he kept taking that bullet for me.
Yeah.
And I'm more snug, and yeah, I mean, I mean, first off, Kurt's such a great wrestler and a great pro wrestler, a great athlete, in general. Like he took to our business so quick from
My
what he
God.
was doing, and is so gifted. I liked the competitiveness of wrestling with somebody like that, because it's going to be a way different match than if I'm wrestling I don't know, one man gang. I'm just throwing a name out there, but um, and and because I had that ECW spirit and fire inside of me, that really made me want to stand up to him, even though he's an Olympic hero, and be like, dude, I am unbeatable right now. And that's how I felt,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like, damn, nothing can touch me right now. And so I really enjoyed that. I remember one time he said something to me. We did something. There was something, some flaw, something. We might have bumped heads or something in the ring. I don't know what it was. The match was almost over, and he said something. And I know he doesn't remember this. It wasn't a big deal, but it's something I remember.
Sure, yeah.
That he was like, "You're not listening to me," and I took so much offense to that. Being the veteran that and just being in the position that I was, and I'm like, what? I'm not listening to you. And the the match ended, and he left first, and I was in the ring, and I just kept saying, I'm not listening to him. Did he just fucking say that? And I was like so hot about it, I had myself all worked up, and I went back, and I went, when I went back there, I went like straight to him. He was sitting there, at the monitor, and I was, and he was, hey, thanks. I was like, Kurt, let's talk outside right now. I was like so steaming, and he came out there, and I said, I'm not listening to you. And I said, that's what you tell me? I need to listen to you? Who the fuck are you? And he's like, what? And I said, you said I'm not listening to you. He goes, no, I didn't. He's got like chew in his mouth and stuff. I was like,
Really?
holding a cup, in his flip flops. He's like, I didn't say that. I go, dude, that's exactly what you said. Nah, I didn't say that. Did I? Nah, I don't think I said that. I mean, I mean it if I said that, and it was just like like that. Like it was just like over and funny then at that point, just because he was being crazy Kurt. He kind of got that nickname a little from some of the people, from some of the stuff that he did. But awesome dude. And, I knew when he was in Impact that, he was like the top guy. And that made it okay to consider that another place to possibly work if the WWE thing wasn't working out, which, for me ended up being the case.
Yeah, so he was kind of like the lead-in almost to be like, hey, so if Kurt's working there and he's establishing himself there, you're like, that could be potential for me too.
Although the office told me that he wasn't getting paid what he was rumored to be getting paid, and I don't know what, but that was a big factor in it too. You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Way less work for comparable, same numbers. So.
Totally. What'd you think too? I think you mentioned it, like Kurt's just really good he caught on so quickly, but like not only from the wrestling aspect, but like from the charisma aspect too, where it's just like backstage, his comedic timing was just on point. I was like flabbergasted to learn that he was one of the rare people that used scripts back at the time, where it was just like, he could memorize all that shit and he had the comedic timing. It was just it's pretty impressive for him.
Gifted. He knew how to commit, and that it's really a lot of it is about commitment. And that's something that I realized kind of after having so much experience with acting, where I didn't even realize that it's how much I commit is how much I make that part, whatever it is, real, instead of thinking about, I wonder what the director wants, or if I can try to play it off the way I'm guessing he wants it to be done. But instead, if you just know for sure in your mind what this is, and you do that, then that's the better way to go, even if it's the opposite of what the person wanted, because that takes that takes talent, and that's a great actor, but it's also someone that's believable and convincing in every way, because they fucking believe it.
Yeah, yeah, and he was able to do that too, very, very well.
Yeah.
Um, well, okay, so Howard, you sometimes we'll go off the beaten path a little bit, but we're always going to close it out here with RVDology, something that you've done on YouTube before. I think it's fascinating, and it's a really cool way to kind of, I think, cap off the show. It's kind of like I told you initially in the pitch, is like Jerry Springer's final thoughts. Rest in peace. But we can. So I want to give you the floor. We'll close out the show with this. But before we do that, though, let's. What do you got going on? What can we plug? What's happening in the world of
May
RVD?
21st, I'm in Baltimore. That's my next time that I leave town to go somewhere. Filming another Dark Side of the Ring before then. That's coming back, if you didn't know. But this might even be for the next season, because this guy's not even advertised in the ones that they're advertising for this coming season. So anyway, I'm trying to keep my appearances up now at robvandam.com. I've had the website forever, and I forget sometimes for years that I have it. Recently I realized that I had it updated, but I'm going to figure out how to keep it updated so I can keep my upcoming appearances and recent news on there. That's mostly what's important there. The links to my other stuff, but on YouTube, that's how you can keep up with me and see all the current stuff. I have it, right now I'm a couple of weeks behind, so that's because I've been so busy. But I got it. But anyway, yeah, one of the things I do on there is RVDology, and this is, a lot of people, for some reason, if I post some thoughts, I have people that feel like they're my parents for some reason, and they feel like they should tell me, like, Rob, you need to do more of this, or hey, go do less of this. It's time Rob, you're this old, you need to do this or that or whatever. And it's like, man, I resent that so much. I've always kind of pushed back against just the traditional pressure,
yeah,
and the pressure to conform. What I mean? Because for me, it's always been like, what's wrong with asking questions instead of being a blind sheep and just going with the flock? My dad always encouraged me to ask questions. With RVDology, this is the way I do it. So you can't say that I'm wrong at the way that I'm doing my own philosophy and my own thoughts.
Yep.
You can't. You can say that you disagree with them, and that's fine. But nonetheless, these are, and there's a bunch of these episodes on there. These are some values that I myself use and have found them to be very successful in helping me achieve a better life. I'm 52 years old. I wouldn't go backwards for anything. Like, my life gets better and better the longer I'm around, and the more I learn about how to make my life better. And the more I learn how to prioritize and how to pay attention to things that pick my energy up, and how to ignore things that bring my energy down. And the payoff is just tremendous in the quality of life. I mean, I don't know if that comes across, but a lot of people live with a lot of stress, a lot of hate. They put out a lot of negative comments. Maybe they hate their job, they hate their family, they hate their car, they hate where they live, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. And so I can't tell everybody, hey, you shouldn't do what you're doing. You should do what I'm doing. But I do offer up. I'm just offering up my ways. And, from the feedback, it is helping a lot of people, I am a positive energy kind of person. So people that are energy vampires, I'm very apparent that they're around, and I've had friends that the more I learned about what I needed, the less I could be around them just because of the life they had to offer me by hanging out with them. Uh,
Yeah.
and so let me use this as an example. If you might be the kind of, let's say you're driving down the road and all of a sudden a car comes very fast beside you, passes you, and then pulls over in front of you, and then they have to slow down and then take the exit that's there like really quick. All right. A lot of people will be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Had to go up there and pass me just to make that fucking exit like that. I would be thinking, I wonder why that guy had to go up there that fast. Maybe he didn't realize that the exit was going to be there that quick. Maybe his wife's pregnant. I don't know, but I know that there is a reason. And
Yeah.
basic thinkers can't think that far. They can only think just the one stage of how everything affects them. They don't
Hmm.
have any empathy, and it's the majority of people I fear, the majority of the status quo. And I think that a lot of people think it's okay to be that way. And I would argue against that point, at least for me. If you want to be cool like RVD, then, first off, you might say, hey, that was a good move. I can't believe you actually cut over 3 lanes and made
Wow.
that. Good job, bro.
Impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more about giving energy, you know. Um, so I talk about a subject, and then I always, by the way, RVDology is full of stories that nobody has ever heard.